When the luxury arm of the world's second largest car manufacturer goes off to build their first supercar, what do you get? Well, you get this. A Japanese engineering masterpiece, 10 years in the making, with only 500 of them rolling off the assembly line. An exotic from the East with arguably the best sounding engine to come out of a production car. A halo car that everyone wanted to like, but no one bought. So why didn't it work? Well, friends, get ready to laugh and learn. Because we're going bumper to bumper on the Lexus LFA, Jeremy Clarkson's favorite car. He may or may not be my dad. Big thanks to our sponsor this week, Raycon earbuds. You know your boy loves listening to music. I have a musical soul. But sometimes earbuds don't fit right in my weird little ear holes. Or worse, the sound isn't great. That's what I like about Raycon E50 earbuds. They fit in my ears comfortably and they legit sound amazing. They're sleek and stylish, and the best part is Raycon E50s are about half the price of other premium earbuds on the market. All that bumping for half the price? You can't beat that. I freaking dare you, dude. Help Big Bro out, support the companies that support Donut, and get some sick earbuds in the process. Click the link below and get an additional 15% off your order of Raycon earbuds. They're named E50, which is also a model of BBS wheel that look very good that I might put on that car. That's how you can remember it. First, let's talk about the concept of a halo car. No, not the Warthog, you freaking nerds. A halo car is a reminder. It's a car built by a brand to remind people what they're all about. You build a halo car to create hype and to bring in some new customers. A good example of a successful halo car would be the Audi R8. The LFA was Lexus's halo car, meant not only to bring some non-traditional eyes to other Lexus models, but also change the way the company did things moving forward. Before we can get into the LFA, and I promise we will get into it, I've heard it's hard to get into, we gotta talk about Lexus, the luxury division of Toyota. Now, back in the 80s, Toyota initiated the Flagship One or F1 project, not to be confused with Formula One racing. With no budget or time constraints, the F1 team went to work on what would be the LS400. The LS laid the foundation for the brand for years to come. Build a well-engineered car that wasn't rushed into the showroom. Take your time, do it right. It will pay off. So why am I bringing up the LS400? Well, the story of the LFA parallels the story of the brand's first luxury sedan. The process of building a supercar would create a special sauce that would trickle down the rest of the Toyota lineup. The first car was completed in June of 2003, but it wasn't until 2005 that Lexus revealed the first true concept car. 2 years later, the second concept car showed up, and finally, in 2009, this purdy thing you see before me was presented by Akio Toyoda himself. The LFA. L for Lexus, F for Fuji Speedway, the racetrack that Lexus owned that they developed the car on, and A for Apex, the tippy top of the food chain. So what makes this car so special, and why didn't it work? The chassis of the LFA is carbon fiber. The body panels, you guessed it, carbon fiber. The hood, well, that's only made out of carbon fiber. The steering wheel is freaking carbon fiber, for gosh darn sake. I'm the carbon fiber Oprah over here. You get carbon fiber, you get carbon fiber, you get carbon fiber. Everybody gets carbon fiber. But in the early 2000s, only a handful of sports cars were made with the space-grade material. In fact, the chassis of the LFA started off aluminum, but after a ton of testing, they decided to switch to carbon fiber. That's 4 years of development, and they were like, actually, you know what? We should probably make the monocoque out of carbon fiber now, it's better. Remember when I said that this thing took 10 years to make? This is why. But remember, this is Lexus. Avoid compromises at all costs. Take your time. In true supercar fashion, the car gets its array of scoops and vents to cool things down. The edges of the door mirrors are even shaped to send air into these rear scoops, which then makes its way to the rear-mounted radiators. Out back, you get a wing with a gurney flap that pops up when you hit 50 miles per hour. I tried. Pop up and down gurney flaps. It just doesn't sound as good. Remember that yummy trickle-down sauce Lexus wanted from before? Well, the RCF got some. We talked about these brakes when we did a bumper-to-bumper on the RCF Track Edition. If you want to geek out with V-Sauce and myself, go check out that video after this one. I'll put the link in the description below. For now, let's talk about the wheels. We can't pull off these 20-inch BBS wheels to reveal the sweet suspension goodies tucked underneath, but mounted up front is a double wishbone setup and a multi-link arrangement in the rear. While Lexus is spending years on all this carbon fiber making and loom development, they're also working on the other piece of the LFA puzzle, the engine. Hey, I'm over here now. A V10, the size of a V8. It weighs less than a V6. It makes 553 horsepower, 354 pound-feet of Turks. The 4.8-liter naturally aspirated motor vrooms the LFA from 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds and tops out at 202 miles per with a 9,000 RPM redline and a 9,500 RPM fuel shutoff just to keep things safe. Let's just say it sounds pretty sick. How does it rev that high? Well, it's got forged titanium connecting rods, aluminum pistons, solid titanium valves, and magnesium alloy cylinder head covers. That's a lot of very expensive, very lightweight metal. It's an engine with an F1 pedigree. This car is capable of over 2 lateral Gs in the corners, all while pressurized oil is making sure things get lubed up inside. If there's one thing I know, it's that lube is important.
These grooves are brand new, and they're in dire need of some lube.
That's from our new show, High Low. We built 2 Zs and compared cheap versus expensive parts. You can only watch it on that other social media network, but it'll be here pretty soon. The motor gets its oxygen supply through a dual-stage variable intake manifold. It then gets passed into 10 individual throttle bodies. Oh, no wonder it sounds so good. Before screaming out the dual-stage titanium muffler. Inside the intake system, there's a surge tank which further helps to give the LFA its sweet, sweet induction sound. The people tuning the sound? Engineers from Yamaha. In fact, the entire engine package itself was co-developed by Yamaha. Now, you might know Yamaha as the company that sells God's greatest gift to man, the Wave Runner, but they started out as a piano and reed organ company. They know how to make instruments sound good, okay? And this engine was treated as just another instrument to them. And in true Lexus fashion, it was designed to enhance the driving experience with sounds piped directly into the cabin.
Let's go see what the cabin sounds like inside. I think it's gonna be a really nice audio experience. I'll see you guys in there.
All of that air rushing in and the space grade metal rotating around puts out a sound that brings a tear to my eye. I'm not joking. It may be the best sounding car ever. Low liter, high cylinder motors sound amazing, but this engine sounds especially unique. You get 3 channels of sound coming into the cabin. The first is the main intake noise that comes from that tuned surge tank that I mentioned before. It gets sent somewhere around here, right below the main dash panel. The other 2 channels are in the upper cowl opening and the rear reflector. The upper cowl brings in mid to high range tones, and the lower reflector pulls in resonant engine sounds. All 3 of these channels combined create a 3D surround sound concept. It's the most analog thing on the inside of this car. It's not electronic. You can't turn this sound off or lower the volume. It's pure, raw engine acoustics, and no other car sounds like it. The exhaust sound you get changes depending on the RPM. Below 3,000, a dual stage exhaust valve remains closed to keep things quiet and upscale neighborhood friendly. But above this speed, a valve opens and the exhaust flows into a single resonator out the tri-tip exhaust. Shall we? Good job, Yamaha. Okay, let's finish the video. The LFA is comfy, and you get bucket seats with 8-way power adjustments. They're sporty, and they keep you locked in if you decide to take your Japanese supercar to the track. The seat belts have airbags that inflate during a crash and spread the force of the impact across a wider portion of your chest. If the LFA had an earlier release, these might have been more of a big deal, but in 2011, I mean, you could get a Ford Explorer with them. Not trying to take away anything from the Ford Explorer, but I'm guessing Lexus would have liked to be the ones to debut such technology. The controls are simple, but classy. The instrument cluster is really cool. Because the motor can go from idle to redline in 0.6 seconds, they couldn't use an analog tach. It wouldn't have been accurate. It couldn't keep up with the engine. So they designed their own digital one. Again, if the LFA were released just a bit earlier, it would have been the craziest to hit the market. This tach alone was a big deal, but today, again, it's seemingly commonplace. The steering wheel itself is squared off at the bottom. I guess Lexus was thinking about big boys like me so I wouldn't hit my knees. The paddle shifters don't move at the wheel. Some people like that, some people don't, which is a nice segue into how people really feel about the entire LFA package. It's a mixed bag. By the time the LFA finally came to market in 2012, over a decade after its initial concept, the GTR, the ZR1, the Murcielago, and plenty of other fancy fast cars had already been released, effectively stealing the spotlight that Lexus hoped the LFA would bring to the company. The GTR in particular really stole its thunder. It was a Japanese-made sports car that was 5 times cheaper and arguably a better performing car. In the end, the LFA's greatest ally ended up being its greatest enemy: time. Whoa. And because it took so long, there were some things that Lexus couldn't go back on, like the transmission, for example. It's a 6-speed, single clutch. It really needs a dual clutch. Things like that, coupled with the fact that Lexus wouldn't even allow you to buy one outright at first. You could only lease them through Lexus. And even with only 500 of them made, dealerships didn't sell out. It was bizarre. To top it off, the car wasn't even marketed all that well. I mean, unless you're a car person, you probably don't even remember the LFA, which totally defeats the purpose of a halo car. One thing though that the LFA did do right, and like the LS before it, was change the way the brand built cars moving forward. This is the car that started the Man Ray look that so many Lexuses have today. Look at the LC500. It's clear that that car has LFA secret sauce all over it. Soon enough, you'll start seeing production cars with carbon fiber frames, inflatable seatbelts, and fingers crossed, more V10s rolling out of Japan by the thousands. And we'll thank the LFA for that. And we'll thank our buddy Brian for bringing his LFA down to shoot with us today. Follow him on Instagram, Brian Gold, PhD. Follow us at Donut Media. Follow OVC Mustangs. They hosted us again in their sick garage, and they're building some really, really cool stuff. You can also check them out at ovcmustangs.com. I love you.